there's a potential chance that you have a 2003 Toyota Corolla that is also having issues like mine. Why is it that I'm keeping this 2003 Toyota Corolla? Because I don't want another car payment. So there's multiple things that are going on with this Corolla. One of them happens to be something that I cannot figure out. So I started with the battery, I changed the spark plugs, and then I changed the purge airflow sensor. None of them seems to fix the issue that I have continuously going on with this. So I finally did a simple fix that will supposedly fix the problem, and it's cleaning the mass airflow sensor. So I'm going to take you along to see if it actually did what it's supposed to do, because I don't want to keep you guys in the dark as far as where the airflow sensor is. It's the mass airflow sensor. It's right here, and it is made by Denso. A lot of people online say that's all you have to do. Let's see if it actually did what everybody says it will do just by cleaning this. Cleaning my car the other day, because this thing is pretty clean inside, and end up sucking this thing right up into the vacuum cleaner. Come on. So it actually seems like it started a little bit better. It is cold, so this will be a good test. It seems like it might be a little bit smoother. I will take you guys on a drive here in a minute, but I want to kind of warm it up and see if it starts doing the same thing that it has been doing, and having like a rough idle.
2,000 years later.
Staying right there, right above those bottom 4 lines. Go ahead and give it a rev. See what it comes back down to. One more time. Seems to be getting a little bit warmer. Get this mounted up and we'll go on a drive. Just ignore my brake squeaks, okay? Pretend like my brakes aren't squeaking. We'll see. Normally I would feel sputtering by now. Guaranteed I would feel the sputtering. Guaranteed. And when I stop, it would sputter a little bit. I mean, of course, it's an old car, so it's making a bunch of noises, but it's not nearly as creaky. And there's less vibrations. I cannot believe if the mass airflow sensor, or MAF, is the problem. I cannot believe it. If that was the problem the whole time. I'm stopping fast, bringing it down to a fast idle, you know, reducing my speed quite a bit. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, the acceleration's much better. I think this, from what they're saying, is the ability for your car to have better gas mileage, for everything to work better. Your mass airflow sensor is supposed to work really well. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? It's a big part of the car. But I had no idea that it would cause so much problems. The sputtering in the morning, after the car warmed up, it was totally fine. But in the mornings, it was just so hard to get going. I even thought it was the transmission at one time because of the way it felt. It felt like the problem was underneath the car. But the transmission's doing great. I checked the fluid because I thought that might have been it. But nope. Alright, let me get back to the house and I'll take this thing out and I'll show you exactly what I cleaned. There's a little matchstick looking thing right there. I believe that's the sensor. And before I cleaned it, it was kind of a dingy looking dull color on, I believe it was this side where the air was hitting this way. And so I took it and put it in a little jar with some alcohol and shook it around, and that wasn't really doing much. So I let it sit in there for about maybe 2 minutes. And then I came back with a squirt bottle with some alcohol in it and sprayed it on that. and it kind of cleaned it up a little bit better. It's not perfect. One side is a little bit cleaner than the other. I don't know if you can tell. And then this side. Still, it's better than it was, which is why it is working now. You could go buy a new one of these for $100, or you can clean it with some alcohol if you have it already. You can get a mass airflow cleaner that I believe is, people were saying $15 or so. If you guys are like me, I know that you're not hydrating enough and probably taking care of yourself well enough, getting good sleep, exercising at least a little bit, and drinking water. If you could do any of those things, drinking water would probably be the most important thing. Not a whole bunch, just every once in a while. Stay hydrated. Let's see if I messed anything up. Seems to start up okay. See if it idles. I believe the ECU also was needing to figure itself out when I first fixed this, because it wasn't completely fixed when I first started and I cleaned it and everything. So when it was all cleaned off, it still wasn't as good as it is doing right now. So I had let the car sit for a while. After I had cleaned it up, the car had been sitting for about 2 hours. Runs so much smoother. Oh my gosh. And why can't I talk right now? It runs so much smoother. Amazing. And I guess I saw somebody on YouTube saying that one of the better ways you can, well, I don't know if it's a better way, but a good way to check to see if it is your mass airflow sensor. I don't know, is it mass or MAF? I keep saying mass, but I don't know. Whatever it is, it's actually, there's a good test you can do. You disconnect the cable from the mass airflow sensor, and supposedly if your car idles better, runs better, I guess it'll be okay to do that. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to it. Don't mess up your car and say, hey, you know, what happened, Mike? You messed me up. You told me to do this and it messed up my car. But just in case, that might be something to be able to tell you, hey, maybe it does need to be cleaned. If you didn't want to happen to go through the whole, you know, taking off those 2 screws and cleaning it yourself. But to me, I didn't have to spend any extra money, and this seems like an easy fix. Yes, you can buy one of these sensors, but why buy it if all you had to do was clean it? It's never been cleaned. What a difference. Let's go ahead and run the AC. That's hot air. When you stop, it brings the idle up, and then it slowly allows it to go down again. So I would say this thing is fixed. We'll have to see in the morning when it's like 50 degrees outside how the car does. But to me, I don't feel any hesitations. The car, I don't think, has ever run any better. My check engine light is still on, but I'll turn that off. I'll have to run a diagnostic with my little machine that I have here. I mean, I believe it, but I can't believe it. But I have to, because I'm looking right at it. Oh, how did I find out about this? I was talking to Gemini, and I asked it about, you know, all the things that it could possibly be. And I had checked off everything, and I had told it, hey, this car is fine when it's warmed up. But in the morning, when I go to step on the gas, it purges. But when I'm on the freeway, it doesn't. It's totally fine. So that tells me that it's not the fuel injectors, because otherwise during high speeds, if it was the fuel injectors would still have problems, I believe, with giving the car fuel. So that couldn't be it. It makes sense. It does. Don't get me wrong. I just didn't know that was a thing. I had looked at it so many times and thought, I wonder if this could be causing the trouble. Whatever the heck this thing is. But I wouldn't have known what to do with it. My kids were telling me, Daddy, you got to get a new car. This car is so old and beat up. It's not worth it. I have a 2019 Honda Pilot Touring, and the thing turns off every once in a while with its automatic shut off when you put the brakes on, and you've got to turn that thing off so it doesn't do that to you. But if you forget, sometimes it doesn't want to come back on, and so you're stuck there you're stalled out trying to figure out how to get the car turned back on, right? So that just to say, new cars sometimes aren't the answer, because they all have their own little quirks and things that you got to deal with too. This is an older car with 237,000 miles on it. The motor I had put in 15,000 miles ago, so that at the time was 130 something thousand miles on that, because I got the new motor I got a used motor from a junkyard. Had my mechanic put it in. Pretty sure he didn't clean out the mass airflow sensor. This is what I told my kids. The reason why I want to figure this out is so I can say that I did it, number one, feel like I accomplished something, number two, and then also if somebody else has any problems with this, now I know what to ask them. I'll say, hey, did you check your mass airflow sensor? What is that? I didn't know I had that. Have you changed your battery out? Have you changed your purge flow valve? Have you checked it for emissions? Have you checked your charcoal canister? Have you changed your spark plugs? Have you changed your coils? Right? Because there's only multiple things it could be. It could be fuel delivery. It could be electronics, the electricals, as Derek from Vice Grips Garage would say. Or is it possibly air, right? Fuel delivery, electronics, air. So fuel delivery, ignition, and air. Have you checked your air filter, your engine air filter? So for your mechanic to go ahead and clean that thing that I just showed you how to do, they're probably going to charge you $100 to $200, $300, depending on if they say, oh, we just got to change your airflow sensor, right? Your mass airflow sensor, we got to change it out. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but you're not going to know if you just take it in, you don't check it yourself. I thought, nope, there's nothing wrong with the airflow sensor. When I changed it, I thought there was nothing wrong with it. When I was looking at it, and before I cleaned it, I didn't change it, I cleaned it. But right before I cleaned it, I was looking at it, I was like, what is it supposed to look like, right? And then I noticed, wait a minute, the gloss is starting to come back at the end of it there. It looks like a matchstick. It's starting to come back. It's getting all glossy again. I must be doing something right. So from what I hear, make sure not to touch it. Don't scrub on it. Don't use anything on it. Just use the pressure from the spray bottle if it's not working for you. Don't use water. I guess it's something to do with adding a film to it. You don't want to use WD-40 brake cleaner. Using the actual cleaner for the mass airflow sensor is probably the better thing to do, but for me, alcohol worked just fine. I looked in the comments from different YouTube videos and they said yes, using the 90% alcohol, or I don't know, maybe I have 100%. I don't think I do, but it's up there. It's not the regular isopropyl alcohol that you get from the store, the 70%. It's not that. It's not diluted with water. I had a bottle off to the side that had some carpet cleaner in it. I poured that out, made sure I cleaned it out a couple of times, dried it out as best I could, sprayed it a couple of times to let the alcohol flow through it instead of the water that was in the spray wand, right? And primed it to where it was ready to go. Sprayed it as hard as I could to get that cleaned off, and this is what we have. Of course, I let it dry. Sat for a couple hours to dry off. I put it back in the car after about 2 minutes because the alcohol dissipated pretty quick. I tried to turn it on. It seemed like it was doing okay, but I think the ECU had to get used to the fact that I had cleaned it. I think that had something to do with it. I gotta go check the oil level in this car to make sure it's good, but boom. Let's see if it starts up. That's what it's supposed to do. Guys, I don't know. I don't know if cleaning the mass airflow sensor is a fix
for long term, but it fixed it for now. If this happens again, I will be buying a new mass flow airflow sensor. But until then, this is good.
Hopefully this simple fix helps you with your Toyota Corolla as well. My name is Mike. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Stay hydrated.